everyone. I wanted to just thank you, first of all, for joining me a little bit early. I have a graduation ceremony to go to for my son. Oh my gosh. So he's graduating. Not a huge like high school or college graduation, but still a milestone worth being there and worth celebrating. And so I thank you and apologize for being a couple hours early. This hopefully will be, the last time that I'm a little off schedule here with the Circular Summit last week as well as this week. So thank you all for joining. If you couldn't join, I hope you catch the replay. And today I just wanted to talk a little bit more about milestones and markers in our life. And it started me just thinking about all of this because of this graduation that we're going to be attending today. And, made me think, why are milestones so important to pause and to remind ourselves of how far we've come and maybe what might lie ahead? And so I came up with 4 reasons that would explain why it is so important to pause and to celebrate that milestone. So I'm going to start off with number 1, to celebrate. It's time to celebrate. Celebrating milestones is huge. The definition of a milestone is, a significant event in your life or even a roadside marker referring to a particular location. So we celebrate all the time. We celebrate from the time that our kids were babies, right? We celebrate their first step or their first walk. Their first word, first of all, which by the way was mama, I'm pretty sure. And next to ball, I think mama and ball. But being in the speech world and hearing world, it's because of the bilabial, the 2 lips together. And I'm totally nerding out on you guys now. But, we celebrate all of these things with our kids. First word, first step, little things, big things, we do it all the time. And you don't just do it for your first child, but you do it for your second as well, and your third or whatever. You celebrate these big wins because you get excited and it feels so good to celebrate even the smallest little wins. But as we get older, why is it that we stop celebrating as much? How many of you know people, of our own age that are in the workforce maybe stop celebrating their birthdays? I mean, that's huge. I want to tell you guys to get out there and to continue celebrating your birthday. It's a huge deal. It's a huge thing. So I want you to go out and celebrate their birthdays, even if it's for a small thing, even if it's for just a dinner. Get out there and keep celebrating. But what about some of the other things that you may not be celebrating, but they're still milestones? I thought about what about a healthy lifestyle? What about the 1 or 2 pounds that you lost in the last week or the last month? Those are still milestones that you need to celebrate. What about getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep? Oh my goodness. That is a huge thing. Or sticking to a daily routine that you have been trying for, whether it's getting up at a certain time, tuning into a show, or getting exercise, or reading a book, or anything in the morning, sticking to that daily routine. That is a milestone that we all still need to be celebrating as well. So if you're just joining us, I can't really see the comments or anything like that, so I apologize. But I am talking about milestones and markers in our life and why it is so important to pause and remind ourselves of that. And so the first point I talked about was because we need to celebrate. We need to celebrate these milestones. We need to celebrate the little things, the big things, the things that you don't think about celebrating, like, a healthy lifestyle or getting to bed early. How about in a job? Have you celebrated not only maybe a promotion, but what about the first time that you had funding accepted? Or maybe when you hit a certain goal, do you celebrate with your employees? Do you celebrate with your colleagues? These are all milestones that you've hit. And the reason why it's good to pause and remind ourselves is because we need to celebrate these things. Why? Why do we need to celebrate it? Because it allows you to see that you can do something and that you have accomplished it so that you can move on to set the next goal or to set the next milestone. So number 1, the reason why it's great to pause, to reflect and to remind ourselves of milestones is to celebrate them. Number 2 would be to reflect. Okay. Number two is to reflect. This is the reason why we pause. Is, reflection, if you think about reflection means, to give thought to review, to study, to stop and look at what you did well, and also stop and look at what mistakes you've made or the struggles that you've made so that you can move on to be the best version of you that you can. So what I like to say is take time to reflect, to evolve, right? It's time to evolve. So you not only do you have to pause and reflect of the good things that happen, but also the mistakes and the struggles, because that still creates your story. So that's the second thing. Number one is to celebrate. Number two is to reflect. Number three, why it's so important to have these milestones, to pause and remind ourselves, is to be thankful. Be thankful. Be thankful of the people that came into your life up until this point. They helped you get there, whether it was something that was good that happened or something that you struggled through. Your relationships with these people got you to where you are. And so I always like to say this, but people are brought into your life for a season. People are brought into your life for a reason, and there are some people that just stick by you all the way through life. And so, with the time that you take to really pause and reflect and to celebrate these milestones, you also have to be thankful because change is coming. Change is inevitable. I know it's hard. I'm thinking about the change that's going to happen just in the next few months, right? But change is inevitable. But memories last. Memories last. So you don't know if you're going to see these people ever again. And this was just a pause in your life. And it's time to get out and thank people for being in your life up until this point. Being thankful, it's hard because you might see them, you might not. And so I encourage you that when you pause to look at these milestones and you celebrate them and you reflect on them, but you're also thankful and you feel blessed that you've had these people and these experiences in your life up until this point. All right. The last thing that I came up with, 4 things of why it's good to really pause and remind ourselves to really look at these milestones, is to look to the future, right? That's the last thing, is to look to the future with hope and open eyes. Look at what you did well again. Look at what you struggled with. Everything that you went through, all of those things create your unique experience and your capabilities to now go out into this open landscape that's in front of you. So with that, I want to ask you 2 questions that I want you to think about. And if you feel comfortable, post it in this post. But what will you celebrate that you have accomplished? I want you to think about putting this in what I learned at the Circular Summit, but what we call a brag bank. If somebody asks you, what are your accomplishments that you're proud of? I want you to be able to get out that brag bank and say confidently, this is what I've accomplished. These are some of the milestones that I hit. So number 1, I want you to think about, what are you going to celebrate that you have accomplished that you would put in a brag bank? The second thing would be, what goal are you going to set that lies just ahead of the corner now that you've accomplished this milestone? So, guys, life is a canvas. My question to you is, what will you paint now? So I'm sorry, for some reason I can't see your comments, so I will go back and I will look at your comments. Thank you so much for joining. Again, couple hours early. I'm heading off to a graduation ceremony for my son, so I really appreciate you guys tuning in, thinking about those milestones, challenging you to really look at what can you celebrate that you've accomplished, as well as what is a goal that you have to write down that will lie just ahead that you need to reach. And share it with us in this community, because we are all going to cheer each other on. So go out and paint your canvas, go out and have a great afternoon. Thank you guys so much for joining.